What's going on, everybody? We are looking at Sergio Calvo. The votes are in. The greatest miniature painter in the entire world. That's right. This guy isn't actually incredible. I believe he is the best or one of the best. There are a few others, but I want to share with you some thoughts on why I think he's the best and some things you can learn just by looking at his photos. And we're going to just, in general, talk about Mr. Sergio Calvo, rocking an impressive over 100,000 followers on Instagram. I was just checking out his Patreon. He's probably making somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000 a month on Patreon alone. He has YouTube, and he does obviously commissions and box arts and Kickstarters and all that cool stuff. So let's just take a look. We're going to jump into some of the models here and talk about it. One, right off the bat, is he hides and pushes colors into his other colors and around his model with the best of them. And I just want to show you that here. Hopefully you can see the cursor of my mouse. But for example, this little blue shadow in his shadow is mimicked multiple times. So this blue here, you can find also down here in the way these flowers are in the blue. This flower actually turns slightly blue. There's sort of blue in the gems, but you can also find it in other places. In the hair, you got some blue, and so on. In the sword here, it's blue. It's sort of like the reflected light, and he just captures it the best. You can see here the yellow on her metal armor. It's not just any yellow, but sort of the mimicked, probably the exact same tones are very close to the ones used in her chest armor and her helmet. Once again, you can see some more blue here. You can actually even find some of these purples in the gold, which are mimicked then again throughout her outfit. And we're going to be seeing that a lot. And I think that's one thing that makes him truly very exciting to look at his models. And it's like a very painterly style, but he's very clean. I'm not interested in getting to this level of cleanliness in my painting, because having watched some of his videos, he looks like a wonderful guy. It's very, very tedious. Let's check it out real quick. The way he paints, obviously this is non-metallic metal, but he always, in these videos I've seen, he paints with just the tiny tip of his brush in these really small motions and just slowly builds up his colors and textures. And it truly does make breathtaking results. But it's certainly not something I'm interested in doing, as I paint, generally more for my own armies or stuff to sell on eBay or, stuff for other people to play with. I'm not really trying to make fine art. And this is just more of a tedious style. You can see it's always just the little tip of the brush, basically bouncing or dancing along the model. And it's slow, precise, beautiful changes to the model happening over time, gradually. But let's check out some more models. That's what we came here for. And if you follow him, you can watch him do his really tedious painting. But, it's working. It's clearly the best. So here's another one. You can see, this one's maybe a little hard to see because of the view. But even let's just check here on the knuckle. In general, most people would just have probably highlighted that knuckle right there with just the, lighter color brass, like sort of the edge highlight color on the back of the hand over here or on the other knuckles. But the reason I believe he did that is he is bouncing colors that he's used maybe in the lens here, just sort of bouncing it around the model. I think I can see that same color up here. Potentially if we could see the back, maybe here. And duller or darker versions of that color might be in the base here in this rock. It's just this sort of behavior of color manipulation that just creates some really incredible stuff. This one, obviously, this one's super obvious when you can see. Basically, look at the cloak. If you covered your screen and only looked at the cloak with this sort of yellowish gold to orange to magenta to purple to black, that cloak right there is every color almost that's in the rest of this model. But due to textures and tiny details and edges and blends, he's used basically this palette. Like the cloak on this model is almost the palette for the entire model with just white and probably a few other colors. It is incredible. It's so well done. The model looks like it belongs in the same environment because the colors are used multiple times all over the model. It's like you're looking at this thing as it existed in real life. And even world famous Spiky Bits loves it, bro. So that's cool. Let's go to, this one looks like sort of a, this is on a YouTube channel, but this, I mean, it looks like it's somewhat of an airbrush buildup. But if you look at these brush strokes, I don't know if these are, I didn't watch this video, but these are probably maybe the larger brush strokes in the beginning of the model to build like the muscle texture, that you can really see the volumetric shapes and muscles pulling on the skin here where he's used his brush, and then here where he's sort of probably mapped it in with his airbrush. It's fantastic. And another example, you can just sort of see the same colors bouncing through the model already at the early stage, from the greens in the body mimicked here in the rock. The yellows or bone colors here in the horn are already being used again in the elbow. Even though this isn't a bony elbow, this is just what creates the illusion that you're looking at the model through an atmosphere, and it all belongs together. It's really stunning. I wouldn't be surprised if this bedroll somehow is mimicked here in the eye shadow, like the eye socket shadow. Also looks like some of that bedroll color is here down in these rocks as well. So good. This one is just insanity levels. Obviously you need a keen eye, amazing use of color, and yeah, this is out of this world. And just a quick thing on composition, look at this rock here. You see the purple, the greens, the yellows, the grays, and immediately over here across the model you see the purple in the blade, the greens, the grays sort of lighter though to create the reflecting of the metal, and these colors are once again bounced throughout the model. This bright blue on his little horns used in the blade, touched down here in some of the cloth underneath the armor. The armor has all kinds of little reflections. Like you wouldn't generally think that maybe this yellow would be here in the shoulder, or maybe that's a touch of yellow there in the forearm, touch of yellow there in that thigh guard kind of thing. But it's just this, and down here, this is a purple cloth, and it just happens to go into yellow because, and once again, I'm repeating myself, but it's because this yellow is used up here in this blade, and it sort of keeps your eye just enjoying the fine little details, finding all the colors. It almost is irrelevant what the model actually is. Oh, he's actually had some other ones too that, we'll check out a couple more. we got no place to go. Here's another one. This is a much smaller scale than some of the other ones. Obviously, he is popping colors in this one, but another example of, you know, there's a little bit of green in the wood that is mimicked again here in the shoulder armor or cloth, down here in the tunic thing, in the base, so on and so forth. This one is just insane. I love the little white like dots and lines to make it look like it's wet. That is really fun. I love any kind of like orc creature that has sort of the pink in their face, like they look like they're living. And it's really neat. You can also see some, I guess, looser brushstrokes that are pretty fun. I'm curious if he has designed these like consciously or just unconsciously to move the eye around. But let's follow this light gray. There's a weird light gray line here in this braid, and that is probably pretty close to the color that's reflected in the mouth. It's used again here on this horn. It bounces along each horn, sort of framing the model. If you look, it's up here in the hairline, so it's like bing, 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 up here to the hair. Potential, oh, on the ring, I bet that's some of the same sort of gray-white colors on the ring, and it's bouncing again around here on the edge. So it's almost like this gray line is framing the face of this model. And I believe that's probably intentional. And if it's not, it's incredible that his brain just decides to do that. I know he has some where... Oh, this one I love. This one here is a Troll Slayer type dwarf just beating the hell out of this goblin, really working him over. And one thing that's really fun about this one, once again, the green of the goblin, used just subtly here in the axe, just to bring your eye sort of back and forth. But one thing I really like about him is the feet and hands and face. Like, this guy looks cold, and he's fighting this goblin. I don't know if it's a fight. The fight is over, obviously. He got destroyed. But the pink and blood or whatever effect of the goblin is like also maybe the color used to show that this little naked man in the snow is very chilly. The orange in the hair is mimicked in the rust. The green and red there, complementary colors. Orange and blue, complementary colors. Fantastic. Double complementary color scheme. Really a neat choice. I thought, ooh, look at this guy. This one's, you know, it's almost like a, whatchamacallit, monochromatic in a sense. It's like just blue, black, and gray and white. And then touches of, say, like yellows and pinks in the horns, the straps, and the face. So he's sort of building up almost like a... I think this is how he's creating these basically images that feel very, very uniform and belong in an environment together, because these colors are getting worked up together at the same time. You know, I could have sworn I saw some... This... I hate this, actually. A lot of painters do this where it's like... these get so many likes. This OSL effect, it doesn't look like anything to me. I think it just looks like how people OSL miniatures. I think the subtle use of little colors bouncing around in his colors that he generally does is much better than this. But these generally get so many likes. People love this type of painting. Like, as if holding a little blue flame would turn your entire body blue. It's a common thing in miniature painting, and apparently even the best painter in the world does it. Maybe he's responsible for everybody else doing it. James Wapple does it. A lot of other painters do it. I just don't like how much influence these colors have on each other. Sort of like those blue and orange movie posters where everything in the poster is blue and orange. So he has photos somewhere, I'm almost positive, where when you click it, he actually has... Oh, here we go. He has little color swaps or whatever, test colors pulled out of different parts of the image. And this one's really fun because it's very much the same colors all over the model. Even though he's created so many volumes and forms, the belt is, you know, I assume this is the non-metallic gold sort of the belt. Very, very close to the reflected lights of the city below, and in the cape, hints of the darker shadows of the gold, I guess, are like sort of what's using to light the cape. There's this really interesting green shadow here on the shoulder. I don't even know why that's there. It just blows my mind. He just made a green shoulder and it looks so good. I guess it's because that green here in this sort of, maybe it's like a bronze decoration on a statue, and then he has to bring that green up so the model looks like it belongs together. And then obviously the black, there's so much interest in this black. Apparently there's pure white also used, if this is a pure white, and that might be little teeny touches maybe in the eye, sort of places like that. Fantastic. I love these sort of things. You can see the color swatches, I guess you would call them. Here's another fun one. Actually, I don't know what these color swatches are. This must just be from one specific thing. Let's see. Do you find it difficult to paint white? Here's the color recipe I use for the panda. Okay, so this is the color swatches of the panda bear himself. Very hard to find this greenish military color, but I guess that's built up in the shadows. Maybe it's his eyes. This one here looks like it's the majority of the shadows. But once again, you just find sort of the bouncing of colors, this clever, sneaky ways where he puts extra little colors into his other colors. And they're not just fully blendy. They still have a little bit of, juice, a little bit of texture left in them. And it's just really, really good. Well, I guess we could go on forever, but I'm sure you're already subscribed to his Instagram. It is incredible. I do think this video could help you enjoy a different way to look at his projects, a different way to enjoy his painting. Obviously, a quick glance, they are stunning, but make it like a little game for yourself. This is a good way to see colors and also just get a taste of, say, how an expert level painter like him is using this red, and he's using it in his golds and his coppers. He's using it here on the base. He's using it here on the knee pads, the straps. Looks like there's some decoration on the back. Fantastic. It's like a color masterclass. What a wonderful time. Here you go. You got sort of an orange and blue complementary color scheme. Fantastic. So, yeah, if you're even not interested in color, but you're interested in wondering why you like this guy's miniatures so much, besides the obvious that they're the best, hopefully this video helped you out, and hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you have a different opinion on who the best painter is, let me know. I would love to go check out their Instagram. Maybe we could do a video about it. But I assume it's going to be a lot of the same, just really cool use of colors. Like I said, I have no interest in painting in this style. The process of it is not for me, but the results are incredible. So hopefully you subscribe to my channel for more wonderful hobby content. Like the video, share it with your good friend Sergio Calvo if you want. He's the best. And we'll keep liking all his images. Let's go like one right now. There we go. Adios. See you in the next one.